Welcome back, and I just want to quickly take a short second to apologise for the deep-fried mic there. Fortunately enough, we do have some characters around that can fill this spot if we need it, namely the budget Steve Irwin that we have on board for the APAC South League. But regardless, it was an absolute shellacking. I don't know how else to put that, Mandy, and I don't know whether you want to touch on it again or whether you want to move on to the next conversation, but all I've got to say, we all definitely have egg on our face, and Knights have once again proven why they are one of the best teams in APAC.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we look very silly. We've been looking pretty silly over Twitter for the past about 3 or 4 minutes, replying to all the Knights people going, ooh dear. But anyway, so moving on to the next one, so we don't embarrass ourselves anymore. The Chiefs and Fury, so it's looking really exciting.
Yeah, certainly is. I think Direwolves have a bit in this one, Dev. They are coming off the back of their first defeat in the regular stage for 2022 last week, and funnily enough, it was handed to them by, of all teams, of all damn teams, it was Wildcard. And now Wildcard have gone and done that to us. It's hard to believe. But anyway, this roster here has shown so much prowess and just so much guts and determination that they are and were crowned the best team in APAC for Stage 1. Now coming into this, do we use the excuse that they were a little bit sick last week? Do we allow them that, or do we just go, nah, you can't use that?
If you look holistically, you've got to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Yeah, Harambe in particular, he got 0 kills, and he was remarking upon the fact of how sick he was feeling last week. But these guys, you look at the big picture, like they want an 8-game winning streak. They won every single match in Stage 1. In regulation, they won their opening game of Stage 2 in regulation. But, you know, now they find themselves nowhere near as dominant as Stage 1. They're 3rd last in APAC South, and they need to realistically win just about every single game from here on out to qualify for the Berlin Major.
It is really cutthroat. I mean, I don't really know how else to put it. And a team that is absolutely having the time of their life right now, apparently. They're all smiles and all happy thoughts. Wouldn't have thought that coming into today's game. But, Mandy, are we going to be proven wrong again? We've all gone for the Direwolves. Are we going to be the curse tonight? Or do you think that Chiefs are in a bit of a rough patch right now?
Oh goodness, I think we got proven wrong twice. I'm just going to wallow away in embarrassment and sadness, to be honest. I can't believe we've got so many wrongs so far and how wrong we were proven from that first matchup. I think for the Chiefs, they're looking happier. It's something actually we haven't seen from in a long time. It's been a pretty tough period of adversity for them. So I think if they want to come back into this series, this is the one to do it. This is the one to show that, yes, we can still take it to these top teams in this region, and we can do it with a lot of strength as well.
I think we truthfully can. It's time to have a look at the vetoes, Dev. I always like to throw to you. It is your your trademark stat tracker, that's for sure. First 3 maps gone, Chalet and Bank. Very well played throughout the APAC. Oh, I'm going to stop what I'm saying and allow you to touch on this. But is this the first time we're seeing it in the regular stage?
In Stage 2, yes.
Yeah.
We have not seen this map played yet, as I'm aware, and also, you know, we haven't seen either of these teams play it for quite some time. The last time Chiefs played this map, it was actually in the playoffs, and they lost to Elevate 7-0. 7-0.
Oh,
now,
you had to do it to them.
Prior to that, of course, they beat Sandbox Gaming 7-3. They even closed their Stage 1 performance with a 7-2 win over IG. So Chiefs have had some great performances on this map. And, you know, also you put into perspective that Elevate game. Chiefs had already qualified for the Major at that point, so you don't want to put too much pressure on them for that. I think this is a good map for Chiefs. I think it's also a pretty good map for Direwolves. They've had some close games. They did lose to Cyclops in the APAC playoffs, but they previously beat Talon on it. If you remember that crazy 8-7 game where Edie clutched the 1 versus 4 by killing the Monty who had the diffuser. Overall, this is a map that has been well played by both teams, but historically, I'd actually give Chiefs the advantage.
Well, let's hope that they do have the advantage, because they have not had the advantage at all for Stage 2. It's time to throw to the wonderful casters. It's the old host and Gus.
Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you very much, guys and girls on the desk. Big game here. Chiefs and Direwolves, what was once a champion team, now stuck on 0 points down the bottom after 2 play days. And of course, Direwolves, well, was actually a champion team as well, but a slow start to this particular stage. It feels like both teams desperately searching for a win, Guz.
Yeah, both teams are a little bit battered and bruised. One being the Chiefs probably more so than the other in Direwolves at this point in time. But like every match, like we often say, pretty much must win. Direwolves trying to keep their top 2 chance alive. The Chiefs as well basically need to get full points from this point onwards.
The last time Chiefs won a particular map, it was in April. And are we in July yet? Just about, almost in July. So can they make it a map win in June? The last chance for the Chiefs. Otherwise, they would go 2 whole months without a map win.
And to Skyscraper we go, a map that has pretty esteemed history for both of these teams, but the Direwolves in particular, as touched on by James, was the site of one particular clutch for Direwolves that sent them, or helped send them to previous Charlotte major. As we head into the ban phase, the Chiefs will take Maverick off the board. A couple of exterior walls, namely Office and Geisha. Quite easy to open up if you have a Maverick available, but that will be snatched out of the hands of the Direwolves, who are starting on the attack straight off the bat. And I'm keen to see what kind of tempo they're going to bring to this game. They'll ban the Thatcher out, so hard breach overall going to be tough.
Yeah, and speaking of tough, suddenly, when you look at the rest of the schedule as well for the Chiefs, their next 3 games, guys. Knights, Invictus, Elevate, and then they close out Playday 7 against Wildcard. In some ways, when you look at the 2 games that they have already played, Fury and Gaming Gladiators, no disrespect to either of those 2 teams, but when we look at the history of APAC South, they are on the easier side, typically. Maybe not so much here in Stage 2. So for the Chiefs, it is a very, very difficult road to see them finding success and making top 2. If they are to do so, it has to begin now. Literally, they must win this game. If they lose it, I'll put the line through the Chiefs for Stage 2.
Almost like you said lion, not the line. Thought that was a bit of a strange analogy, but no.
That really would be a strange one. Thanks, guys.
That does make sense. No lion on the board, though, for this first attack, at least not initially, from the Direwolves. Both teams playing extremely on meta. The only one that really does stand out is Thorn on the defense. Those Razor Blooms, that utility can inflict quite a bit of damage and can sometimes collect a kill or 2, but outside of that, a strong primary weapon. And I would have expected a deployable shield, but instead we're actually going to see the barbed wire employed from Ethan. Probably makes sense. You don't have a you don't have a Malusi, and you don't really have any other way of preventing any rat plays potentially from the attack as we settle in for what should be a good game.
His army has made it through as well. Does not get selected here by the Chiefs in the opening round, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see a lot of his army. Those keeper barriers quite strong, and obviously has been a very influential operator since making their way in. And I think if Chiefs don't utilize it, I think Direwolves certainly will. Big game though, of course. Again, another kind of match where we look at the top of the graphic and it says 6th versus 8th, but I really wouldn't look too much into that considering we're only in Playday 3, and we already saw from the Knights what 1 win can do. Knights going from essentially second last to second with that 1 win. Well, Direwolves can actually end up doing the exact same thing here as well. If they win this game, you'll see Direwolves go up into the top 3. Chiefs, if they win this game, suddenly, you know, they're only 1 point away from the top 4. So again, I wouldn't look too much into that. Both teams with so much history as well. Both have been to the top, and right now, both at the bottom. As it stands on the actual live standings, guys, it's second last and last right now playing each other.
And both teams were our representers, our representation at the APAC playoffs and then the major in Charlotte not too long ago. So pretty surprising to see them in this position. Meanwhile, Ethan was shut down, so the Direwolves now have a man advantage. Decent start for them on this attack, and still a plethora of utility still available for them.
You lose Ethan early, so the Thorn taken off the board. So the Razor Bloom shells replaced, could still have an impact. 95 seconds left in the opening round of this particular game on Skyscraper. The Border and Skyscraper to start things off after seeing a lot of Theme Park and Bank. Primarily Theme Park and Bank over the first 2 play days. It is nice to see some diversity in the map pool. So though the Chiefs not off to the best start, and they've just lost Worthy as well. Trade back by Digital. Headshot with the SMG-11 brings it back to 4 versus 3. Still in favor of Direwolves, bouncing over a big play, and it is successful. Finds the kill onto Harambe. Diffuser down outside as well.
Whoa.
Boydie also going for an aggressive play outside, very far outside, but it's working out well here for the Chiefs.
Critically, that diffuser has now fallen out of the hands of the Direwolves, and they need to relinquish their control, go pick it up and try to get it back towards the objective. Whilst that happens, a trade does take place. And now Bouncing left in the 1 versus 2, still below, has 1 impact to maybe play Vert, but Pika Alex better of it. Instead, run past to the more common plant position. But there's info on site. Bouncing knows, he goes for the denial, lands 1 shot, but Pika able to fall off.
Well, the main thing is it just bought a little bit more time there as well. Now he can start to make his way up towards house stairs. 20 seconds left. Pika will get the plant down, but yeah, 1 versus 2. And yeah, unfortunately caught by Souffle immediately. And I mean, always going to be the most difficult factor when you don't have that information. You peek one side and then the player swings from the other. They always shoot you in the back, never from the front. That's how things go. But credit to Direwolves for the start to that round. Chiefs brought it back though. Also, the counter aggression paramount from the Chiefs, the runouts, the vaults, etc., trying to find kills back to slow down the Direwolves. And it felt like it was somewhat working for the most part, but they just could not capitalize.
If Boydie just got a little bit more luck on the timing there and the player above on the rappel didn't swing onto the balcony, could have shifted the dynamic quite a bit in that round because the Chiefs would have maintained an even count or close to even. Diffuser was a long way away from side and on the ground cold. So what could have been, obviously can't go back in time. So decent way from Direwolves to recompose themselves as we see the Chiefs now rotate over towards Karaoke and T-Room. Now with the bans in play, I'm expecting Geisha to be a little bit easier to hold and maybe even Karaoke as well. Now typically that wall that's double reinforced would actually be opened up, an extension of rotation to try and stall out the top of the black stairs there over towards the north, but simply won't be the case here for the Chiefs, playing quite defensively on site itself.
Yeah, and again, similar to Border, we didn't see a whole lot of Skyscraper back in Stage 1, only played twice, but a 71% overall defensive win rate, which was by far and away #1 for APAC South guys. I know, again, only played twice, but still very significant numbers there. And I think when you sort of look at the landscape of Skyscraper, for that matter, it's not really too much of a surprise. A lot of teams, have had issues with even just getting inside of the building, getting good site control, for example. Defenders have had overall success on Skyscraper. I think that should continue at least here into Stage 2 and puts rather large significance on the fact that Direwolves already in the opening round were able to get that attacking round win. So we'll see whether or not that does continue. If the Chiefs lose a couple of rounds here in this first half, it's going to be a long way back for them.
Good util clear on that exterior wall. Now puts pressure on Worthy to maybe waste a little bit more time, but instead falls back over towards Terrace, and Alex not too hard contest. It's eastern side of the map. Pika finds an entry, Bouncing, taken down. I don't even know where that took place.
But straight away, again, it's really not good signs there for Chiefs. They should not be losing opening picks back-to-back like that on a map like Skyscraper as the defending team. It needs to be the other way around. You need to be putting the pressure onto the attacking teams, getting those opening picks, having the advantages, making it difficult for them to push into position like Drums. As an example, what we're seeing right now from Digital. He's got the ADSs up close with a shotgun, he's got the gas babes. It's a choke point. That's what Skyscraper essentially is, a whole bunch of minigames and choke points, and that means it should be rather difficult for the attackers, no? But yet we're seeing Direwolves getting these opening picks, able to use their numbers then from that position to take these choke points like we saw on Exhibition Office. I think we'll see again here in T-Room Karaoke.
They do risk stalling out a little bit. Ethan down below could be a threat, but Souffle has information, has an inkling, holds down through delivery and will now fall back. Digital now in a powerful position. He needs to stall out this push for as long as possible and give the remaining members of Chiefs on side an opportunity to try and hold out.
Still a lot of utility here for the Direwolves as well. They've got drones, they've got the Adrenal Surges as well. Zafir as well, still pretty much fully locked and loaded. Now, a couple of trades go out towards Drums. No surprise, considering it's a big choke point for this particular round, but time is now of the essence. Worthy completely blinded, and a shot in the back of the head as well by Pika. Good position from Boydie. Can't quite swing. Bring down a shotgun, though. Timed perfectly onto Harambe. Now, Chiefs bringing the round back to their contention. 13 seconds left. Diffuser not in the hands, though, of Pika or Souffle. They need to go and pick this one up over at the mezzanine. But Pika just keeps finding kills. Making another one. No. Shut down by Boydie. Time, the biggest factor. Souffle has to... what?
Oh, well, he saves his KD. He wouldn't have been able to stick it anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Boydie, though, what a round from him. Able to reposition on that mezzanine sort of position there in through the throne. Wow, he just timed it perfectly. We saw what happened to Digital. He tried to do something of a somewhat of a similar play, but immediately traded. The timing and the communication there from the Direwolves was really good, but they just let one slip under the radar a little bit, and Boydie having a huge impact, a handful of kills, got that diffuser dropped as well. A key reason as to why the Chiefs were able to win the round.
Yeah, well said, especially considering they had lost that player early on the defense of Skyscraper. It means it's a little bit more accessible for the attackers to sort of overwhelm those choke points, even if it just becomes a sort of 1v1 trade from then onwards. So then it becomes, say, instead of 5v4, it's then 4v3, then 3v2, then 2v1. Obviously, at that point, if you're doing those trades, you're just always ahead for the attacking team in that instance, once you get that opening pick. So the Chiefs able to, at some point in that round, find a couple of, multi-kills, and that just turns the tide. Really well played from Boydie. He was a big factor for that, like you said, and it's signs of life for the Chiefs. Sometimes when you're really down and out, you see these teams, even top teams, can lose multiple maps in a row like we've seen from the Chiefs, but then the rounds, that's the next factor. And I didn't really want to mention it pre-match, but -9 round differential from their first two games. They got beaten 7-3, then beaten 7-2. That means they're just not even in the games from the get-go against Fury and Gaming Gladiators. Well, right now, it's only 2 rounds, but they're in the rounds, they're in the games, and they're going to start collecting these rounds. That starts building confidence and puts them in a position to win.
Again, the Thorn being implemented here into the defensive lineup for the Chiefs. Utility scattered a long way away from the objective. Run out as well, but I don't think that's going to find much. Direwolves instead pick apart the other side of the map, which is, funnily enough, actually closer to the objective, just down below. I assume the play here for Direwolves is to maybe find a pick or two. Critically, nades down below could find utility as well. Souffle uses his first on the exterior wall. Jackie Wu using one earlier. It is successful, and Harambe can come across with that exothermic, open up the breach, and this is a lot of perceived pressure now for the remainder of the round. Someone from the Chiefs essentially now needs to dedicate themselves to watching this entry. And as you can see, there's no one even there, but the Chiefs don't know that.
I think this is going to be a really important half for Digital, generally on the Chiefs, as a player that can hold choke points well, especially when playing that smoke. And on a map like Skyscraper, that's just so important. Now, this is a bit of an extension for bouncing on the Wamai over towards Makeup, and they have actually started to send a couple of players over towards this area. But I like this from the Chiefs. Again, this is what you need to do on Skyscraper. Make it difficult for the attacking team to just make their way into sight, make their way into the building. You want that pressure. You want them stuck out on the balcony peeking inwards rather than getting inside. Boydie swings. He did get the down onto Jackie Wu. He'll confirm it. Opening pick for the Chiefs. And it's good signs for them now on the defense in this third round.
Yeah, the Direwolves are dedicating themselves to take this extension head on. They want to clear it. They want to get control. They want to maybe find a pick or two, but it is unraveling itself a little bit. 50 seconds to go. The Chiefs have now fallen back, and Direwolves need to trade outside. Fortunately for them, though, ED, the entry over towards front office, finds one through that exterior breach. Now has control of Dragon. That's a good play from him. But the toughest part of the round is still to come. 35 seconds to get in towards the site.
Final 30 seconds here in the third round. Close one brewing on Skyscraper. But quickly, the Direwolves just gain such a significant advantage. 2 quick kills in quick succession, and suddenly Digital and Boydie with a lot to do. Boydie was able to do so in the last round to help them find success, and he does still have a helping hand in Digital with the gas baby. Throws out his final one. Doesn't seem to deter Harambe, though, who's going to be able to stick this.
Oh
He does it again! 3K in the last round, and a big 2K to stop the plank going down into red time. Digital loses his life. Boydie on a bit of a heater. Can he deny Pika? Can he win the round again? Souffle watches the rotation hole. Well played from both Boydie and the Direwolves. Well played from Souffle. And we've got a game here on Skyscraper.
Can we just take a second to appreciate that round from Boydie? What a start. And then this flick. That is absolutely insane. The composure to pull that off, knowing that he's likely going to die in that position if he doesn't hit it absolutely perfectly. Well done. Tried to get a bit cheeky with the run outside. Didn't quite work out though, and well closed out by the Direwolves. It's unfortunate just due to the chaos of Siege and how close those trades are in the late round. We didn't get to see, how did they get those entries? They found 2 picks, no response from the Chiefs, and forced the remaining defenders in Digital and Boydie deep, and really made their lives uncomfortable. So well done by Direwolves. A good start on the breach, a clean rotation, and then that entry towards site. Really well done as well.
This is where it gets concerning though for the Chiefs, right? You've already given, well not given, but the Direwolves have already taken 2 attacking round wins early days, but that has to be the limit. You have to now clean sweep the rest of this first half. You have to go 4-2 on the defensive Skyscraper, or I can't honestly, in good conscience, say they're in a good position. Right now, Direwolves are in the much better position. They get essentially three goes at the rest of this half to further extend this lead and to make it a very, very successful attacking half on Skyscraper. If they get to 3, if they get to 4, it's not good news for the Chiefs. Maybe 3-3 half isn't the end of the world, but it's still advantage for Direwolves if that does eventuate. And if it goes to 4-2, you may as well just call it there. I don't see a world in which the Chiefs, in their current state, are going to be able to be all that successful on the attacking half of Skyscraper. So they need to bounce back here. Tough round. Boydie almost clutches up, doesn't happen, but they're in these rounds, and that's all you can ask for.
Well, it was raised earlier. Azami escaping the ban phase, playable for defenders in this particular match, and Ethan now will employ her jumping off the Thorn. 0-3 so far on this game, so maybe looking to use her to get himself back in to this particular match. Those keybit barriers can really transform a site, transform a power position, make life even more challenging for Direwolves.
Well, and it also somewhat plays into the map as well. I mean, Azami, I think at this point is being played on just about every map, but when you've got those choke points, and whether it's site control or whether it's that, you know, further power position of the choke points, the keeper barriers just does all of that, right? So it doesn't matter if you get pushed off one spot, you can obviously then sort of navigate over to that other spot and still be quite successful. You know, if these walls get opened up, you can just, you know, at the office balcony, you can throw a couple of keeper barriers there as well, and further force more utility out of the Direwolves to clear that. So Souffle down below, obviously opening up this office wall. Again, it's all methodical from the Direwolves, and it's 2-1. The Chiefs have been playing well, but so far this has been really clean siege from the Direwolves.
Yeah, doing quite a bit of damage down below with those frag grenades, whether it be utility or even chipping away at the HP of some of these defenders on site. It's uncontested for the Direwolves, and they're taking that control with both hands. Pika elsewhere onto Boydie, so the star player for the Chiefs so far shut down, and now we need to see the remaining 4 step up.
Yeah, and again, though, it's just not looking good for the Chiefs. Continually losing opening picks, and an attacking force Direwolves are just seemingly having their way with the Chiefs in this 4th round. ED has the easiest kill there onto Bouncin. It's only worthy over towards Dragon, and he too can't put much more of a foot forward. That was probably the cleanest and easiest round we've seen so far, and that really now puts the Chiefs to the sword, down 3-1. On defense, Skyscraper, their season is on, honestly, lifeline. It's on life support right now. They need attack timeout. They need to figure out how to turn this around.
The first 4 rounds from the Direwolves have proven and shown they know how to play into bans. Despite Maverick being unavailable, despite Thatcher being unavailable, they are still quite easily dealing with a lot of this utility, whether it be on the walls, whether it be bulletproof cameras, etc. Mostly by commanding control vertically. Now the Chiefs are electing not to contest it, and they're also not necessarily dying to the grenades in that sense, so you can back them in to win the trades late round, but it seems like the util damage that's compiling onto them causing so many issues, and they're really struggling once the Direwolves initiate the push to clamber back, right? You saw Boydie fall, and within the next 10 seconds, most of the team was dead in the round over. So we need to see them on this last defensive effort, in my opinion at least, try to contest the counters that Direwolves are bringing out. Again, easier said than done. Direwolves are a fantastic team, 6th at the moment, not representative of how good this team has been and can be. So yeah, really, really tough here for the Chiefs. I do not envy their position at all, especially, again, as you mentioned, you add in the stakes that this match has on their stage, on their SI aspirations as well. It's a very, very, very challenging position.
You look at it from the Direwolves perspective, guys, like I said, 6th, well, technically 7th, right, is not indicative. But they win this game, suddenly they're tied 2nd. So that's really the sort of leap that they're going to be able to achieve. Of course, still 2 more matches to be played after this particular game. So I said before the game that if the Chiefs lose this, I'm putting a line through the ability for them to make top 2, and I will reconfirm that. Not just because of the statistical likelihood of them being able to make top 2, but because of also the way they're playing. That's the sad reality of it, guys. I mean, I know we obviously have been able to see the rise of the Chiefs over the last 12 months, but I also kind of feel like we're starting to see maybe the fall of that particular rise. And that's completely normal, not just in Siege, but in sports in general, that teams can make their way to the top, have a little bit of success, and then start to fall back down. And I think that's honestly what we're starting to see from the Chiefs. If they can't turn it around, not just in this game, but for this season, for this year, then it's not looking good for them in the long term. 3-1 at the moment, but it's been impeccable from the Direwolves on the attack for a defender-sided map. The Chiefs have not really been able to get a whole lot to go right, outside of some pretty good clutch play from Boydie, who's looked very good so far.
Can't be relying on just him, though. We're looking at someone like Worthy or Bouncin, who historically have been statistically extremely strong in APAC South, but their presence missing a little bit over the course here of the second stage. They're the names we look at to step up, try and take on this aggression from Direwolves. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that will be the case. Direwolves slowly aggressing on the eastern side of the map, and it's relatively uncontested once again. So, like previously, the Chiefs are going to back themselves in at the death on site to trade out picks. Last time, Boydie stepped up. He got a huge couple of kills, dropped the diffuser, and played time. They can't rely on that to work this time. Boydie got a little bit lucky to just sneak his way through and timing his opposition. I think Direwolves are going to be a lot more aware of it this time and ensure that this clear of drum across is perfect.
.60 seconds remaining in the round, 5th round. Feels like must-win round as well for the Chiefs. Jackie Wu, nice little drone onto Worthy. And that's an easy headshot. So it was bouncing. Easy headshot, easy elimination, and yet another opening kill goes the way to the Direwolves. I swear they've either had all of them, or they've had the majority of them. It's one or the other. I think it's been actually only one round the Chiefs have had one opening pick. That's it. 4 of them going to Direwolves is quite significant on a map like Skyscraper, and it seems like Boydie has been taken down. Digital, though, does find Pika over towards main stairs. That's decent. That's something. And they're starting to maybe breathe life back into this round and maybe the match as well. Jackie Wu, he falls too. Only ED is left, but in a 1 versus 2. Direwolves have done well to trade to keep themselves alive in this particular round, but it's only ED left. He missed out on the rotation of the player behind him in Worthy. He pushed up at the perfect time. The Chiefs, off the back of that tack timeout, find success.
Good work there from the Chiefs, able to back themselves in, commit, double down on their game plan, and it's just small, minute improvements that are able to get them across the line on that particular occasion. Now they're within grasp of a 3-3 half, which would be quite the recovery. Things have not looked amazing for them so far on this map. If they can bring it back to that, then it certainly creates an interesting dynamic for the second half. And to continue on the trend of interesting, we go over to Barbecue and Kitchen for the final round of the half. And for most teams, I anticipate this would be their least favored objective. I know in North, we've seen a little bit of gameplay over towards Bedroom, so I guess it would be very on team to team as to whether or not that edges out this particular one. So what do the Chiefs have under their sleeve? It's an objective where you cannot rely to sit on site. Way too much vert, way too many angles that can be created through restaurant and delivery, etc. So we need to see quite the extension here from the Chiefs. They've done it in the past, but they've often fallen off and used it as a time sink. Won't be the case here. They need to try and hold on to as much ground for as long as possible, because if Dials get up above, Jackie Wu gets to work on the vert, the nades come into play, and the air jabs cut off the defenders from coming back up above, life gets very, very tricky for the Chiefs.
Yeah, good switch up from ED onto the Nomad. Get those air jabs out, make it difficult for Chiefs to get those sort of late flanks and rotations. This particular site, Kitchen Barbecue. Yeah, this is I don't mind this in some ways for the Chiefs. If they can bring this back to 3-3, suddenly the game is certainly winnable. It's not impossible by any means. I think a 4-2 half of Direwolves may dispel the demise of the Chiefs. But yeah, I like that they're really shaking things up to close out this half. Maybe try and throw the Direwolves off just a little bit. Force them to take out these roamers, take out these flankers, force these fights a little bit more rather than just defense and choke points, which the Direwolves have done a magnificent job at clearing. This really has got the potential to shake this game up. Look at the site, completely open.
Keeper barriers scattered around. That's an intriguing one on the window over towards Geisha, and Souffle will look to punch it. If he gets and it will fall. Nades to follow from both sides. Impacts from the defense. A frag grenade from Souffle, but a bullet to the face of Harambe. It's a good start for the Chiefs and no trade in sight.
Yeah, good pressure over towards Geisha. Jackie Wu, though, he pushes into drums. He finds the kill onto Digital, but as soon as he walks into the sight line of Ethan, he falls just as Pika did slightly before. Chiefs with a two-player advantage to close out the half. They were on life support before, but is there a beat in that heart of the Chiefs still there to be seen? ED over towards Shrine, and they've got Souffle as well, still alive, so he can get himself back up with his adrenal surges. ED, though, Crosshair just needs to go a little bit lower because there's a player crouched very, very close.
Things it out. We saw Bounce and Shuffle just a little bit before, so a clear sound cue now conveyed.
Oh, you know, he saw the barrel of the gun.
But he needs to push.
I think he wants almost a reconfirmation as to where maybe others are going to be. You push, you get that kill, but you get traded, and he just did it too late. Bouncin heard the sound cue the other way and knew that ED was pushing in. He swings the other way, and it's the Chiefs that are going to close out this first half. They look dead and buried at the conclusion of the first 4 rounds. They took a tack timeout, and they've really brought it back. Headshot from Souffle, easy one. But I think that's all you're really going to be able to get from this position now, even if it's just one more. The player over towards drums, it won't mean a lot if he falls. Only 20 seconds left. There's just no time, no chance here for Souffle.
LMG, though. Maybe something could be performed here, a miracle of sorts. Worthy falls as well. Chiefs just need to be a little bit mindful here. 5 seconds remain. Souffle will need to commit to the plant, and the Chiefs, I'm sure, will want to deny. There's a bulletproof in sight, and he can't plant because that information's feeding too much to the Chiefs, who even out the half. Props go to the Aussies. A fantastic call with the tactical timeout, and they take full use of it.
So 3-3 half in the end on SKYSCRAPER. Not the end of the world, not ideal. Still an advantage for the Direwolves, but it's a minuscule one now rather than a rather large one when they originally were up 3-1. We kind of, honestly, even at 2-1, said that they had kind of 3 free rounds where they got 1 from 3 in the end from that. 3-3 half, not too bad. More importantly, though, the Chiefs have actually built some momentum. They've got some life that's been sort of brought back into them, and now it's all about, can they continue that success that they found at the end of the first half? Can they bring that into the second half, onto their attack now? Are they feeling a little bit more confident after that tactical timeout? So many questions. We'll have some answers, of course, in the second half in what is a massive second half now for both of these teams. We were obviously talking about the downfalls of the Chiefs and talking about the ramifications of they do lose this 0 points after 3 play days. But if the Chiefs come back and win this game, guys, and the Direwolves lose, they are last after 3 play days. Dead last, no chance of going higher than that. That is a black hole, an abyss that they would find themselves in.
And it's almost a tragedy of sorts if that result comes into fruition, because even if the Chiefs win this, they are absolutely still a long shot to finish in the top 2 and head to the major, right? And these were 2 of the 3 representatives we had at the last major who might not attend the next one. And you further that conversation, what does that mean for Six Invitational? These teams are not going to get hardly going to get any points in this second stage, which puts them on the back foot against every other team in the world. So it would be absolutely crazy to not see either of them attend the German major. But of course, that's a discussion for another day, further down the line. Still multiple play days to go, and the Chiefs hunting down the Wolves at the moment. A good recovery at first half, but Siege is a tale of 2 halves, and we'll need to see some strong attacks.
It's all about just keeping on though to the Chiefs. The Direwolves themselves, if they lose this round, it has to be followed by a tactical timeout. The one good news though for the Direwolves is these opening kills still keep going their way now on the defense. And this is probably what you expect a little bit more from the defenders on Skyscraper. And this is the other thing as well to keep in mind, guys. I'll take us back actually just very quickly to last week as Bouncing does get the trade. Knights Elevate was a 3-3 half on Theme Park. And then what did Elevate do when they went to the defense? They won 4 in a row. I wouldn't put it past Direwolves to replicate that here on Skyscraper on the defense from what was a nice finish from the Chiefs and showed us something to, I think, the Direwolves being able to be like, no, this is defender-sided. Let's close this half out. Whether it's whether it's 4-1 or 4-0, it doesn't really matter. So it's why it's so important for the Chiefs to keep this momentum at the start of this second half.
The Chiefs employing similar tactics to the Direwolves, grenades from down below to maybe find a pick, swing it back in their favor before they execute, but unfortunately it doesn't land for Ethan, but it does for Boydie. A strong defensive half, he's looking to replicate it now on the attack.
Time a factor now as well for the Chiefs, 45 seconds. Now that they've got the player advantage, make it 2, courtesy of Boydie. Start heading towards site. Start trying to find success, and an attacking success as well at that to start this second half. Edie still alive along with Jackie Wu. Both players have been able to have clutch moments in the past previously. Many highlights created between the both of them. And with only 20 seconds left, time is certainly on their particular side. Chiefs will have to start rushing, sending it up the stairs. Jackie Wu above, he's got the higher ground. It's over for Ethan. Now heading into red time. ED2 with the SMG-11 headshot onto Bouncing. Is it falling apart here for the Chiefs? Deep into red time now. Boydie has the defuse and he has the shot as well onto ED. But Jackie Wu doesn't give his position away. He wants to swing and he goes for the deny. Digital was watching though. What was Jackie Wu looking at? Chaos to close out the opening round of the second half.
I think maybe Jackie Wu just deceived a little bit there by the sound cue. Can only assume he could have swung out wide for a wallbang to deny the plant. Instead went for what he probably perceived to be a slightly safer option, but Digital playing that guardian position as he often does, doesn't make a mistake there.
Wow.
And that's a big round.
And so far, it's turning into a big comeback by the Chiefs. They were down 3-1. They looked dead and buried, Gus. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
They took the tactical timeout, and they have responded. As good and great teams do so often. They have responded, both on the defense and now on the attack as well. And they take the lead for the first time in this match. They're up 4-3. And the pressure is now on the side of Direwolves. Suddenly they, if we had a sort of live standing, are last in APAC South after 3 play days. They need to turn it around. They need a tactical timeout if they lose this round.
10 seconds left.
Direwolves had a perfect, a flawless stage 1. They didn't drop a single point. Unprecedented, really. Now staring down the barrel of last place. Only in APAC South. He couldn't script it anywhere else. Absolutely crazy. But we don't want to be doomsayers just yet. Only 1 round for the Chiefs, but it was a strong one. We can't deny that. Mirror being played by Pika here for the 8th round.
located by attackers.
back in competitive play after her forced quarantine due to a bug that has been now resolved, and Pika taking full use of that now. This is what we didn't particularly see from the Chiefs too much. The roam down below, ED, he's looking to deny any potential grenades from Ethan or from Boydie down below, even Worthy with his utility to clear the wall, to clear positions. So I was looking to directly counter that.
Yeah, the only time we really saw Chiefs on the roam was Kitchen Barbecue, if I'm correct. Otherwise, they were very much
It's just
playing
a little bit
towards
spotty.
sight, playing towards drums. As Souffle, again, another opening kill for the Direwolves. They have absolutely dominated that statistic. 8 rounds now, they've got 6 of them. But it hasn't always meant, obviously, a whole lot in terms of converting that into a round win. But on the defense, it really does hinder the Chiefs. Fortunately, in the last round, it was traded back, so it made it a 4 versus 4. And once again, a slight delay in the trade, but it happens nevertheless. 90 seconds left, 4 versus 4.
Really good drone there from Digital, able to guide Boydie towards the team's first pick in the round. So good teamwork, good communication, and a good trade eventually from the Chiefs. Now they'll start getting to work on the hard bridge. As we can see, someone down below, I believe it's probably Ethan, Boydie, either or. Someone to clear that utility, and the wall opened up. And with a minute to go now, Direwolves, the pressure dial starts to ramp up a little bit here. Can they hold out this round? It's going to be critical in evening out that scoreline. Another potentially round-defining drone from Digital heading in towards the objective. He's been feeding good information to the team so far. Another grenade from Ethan, dealing with more utility. 2 still available from Boydie. Now make it 1. The Chiefs putting in some good groundwork here to try and convert this round.
Did the Chiefs have the offensive prowess, though, to push forward and find success? Ethan from below finds the kill onto Jackie Wu. Sometimes the higher ground isn't everything. And now, with only 20 seconds remaining, the Chiefs, again, with the advantage. It's 4-3 on the scoreboard. It's 4-3 inside of the round as well. Worthy on the outside of the office balcony just tries to spray through the crossfire. Bad timing for Souffle. He's been so good, so perfect in this game.
Diffuser.
But at that slight moment, he made a slight mistake as Harambe got the kill.
Diffuser.
Digital Diffuser as well.
Oh.
Chiefs win the round, though, courtesy of Ethan. Finding the final kill in the final second.
Oh my god, Ethan with the LMG clutching up that diffuser once again on the ground so late into the round. It's a couple of times now this has happened for both teams. But Ethan able to sweep across, had a good read as to where those final 2 players were, backed himself in to win those duels.
Wow. Timeout. Tactical. Taken by the Direwolves. It's needed. It's desperately needed. It worked for the Chiefs, though, didn't it, guys? Where they were looking down and out. They had that timeout call, and lo and behold, it now is on the other foot. Direwolves staring down the barrel of last place after 3 play days. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It's not entirely doom and gloom. They do have 2 points. But, I mean, seriously, in 4 play days, can they go from last to top 2? As great as this team is, as great as their journey was and the story of the Direwolves in Stage 1, that's a task that is surely difficult for any team in any league. They need to bring this round back just as much as the Chiefs need to now convert their first win since April.
Four wins last stage was just enough to sneak into second. That's what Elevate was able to achieve. Chiefs 3rd on equal points, equal footing. So it's not impossible for either team, regardless of the result, to make that comeback. But how competitive the league is shaping to be at the moment, and some of the head-to-head results these teams have already experienced, it's going to be tough for either. It's going to be tough for the Chiefs. 3 points here, that's great. But they need to keep mounting points. And Direwolves, if they lose and get 0.
Oh.
They haven't been in this position for so long. A perfect first stage. They were always the underdog last year. And now they are being hunted down. So a match that potentially on paper looks maybe a little bit sleeper at first glance. We thought Dials, oh, they'll probably get a relatively easy win. Chiefs will get buried. No, it has completely changed the dynamic of the league and for these two teams. But, and the asterisk on that is the Chiefs still need to close it out, right? Dials just took their tactical. We saw what that did for the Chiefs in the first half. Completely changed it. They played way better. And the Dials will be hoping it has a similar effect for them.
Of the 5-round wins for the Chiefs, only once have they actually got the opening kill in that particular round win. Their ability to come back from a 5-4 deficit early on has been incredible, short of astounding, to do it on such a consistent basis over the course of this match. If they can start to find opening picks there back the other way and start to really get on top of that domination that the Direwolves have in getting these opening kills, that could spell the end of the Direwolves. It's the only thing they've got really going for them is this early game success. Late round, it's all been the Chiefs. In the last 4 rounds now, from a 3-1 scoreboard to a 3-5 Chiefs lead. And they can get match point if they can take this 9th round.
Control established towards the east. Now the Chiefs staring down the barrel of that shield. Protecting the transition towards the objective. A couple of flash bangs used to burn the discs as Boydie now sends out a grenade. Which doesn't land. So not ideal, but the player does fall back nonetheless.
Somewhat slow round, further slowed down as well by that gas babe thrown out towards Dragon. So 60 seconds or so left in the 9th round. Direwolves, they were roaming, they were off-site, but they've reeled it in a little bit. Chiefs did find success as well in a similar fashion. Started to get a little bit more methodical in their approach, but the Direwolves are not giving them anything until that moment. It is an opening kill for the Chiefs, and it is an advantage for them. Can they bring it home?
Smoke still wasting time, but it's a 4 versus 5. The Chiefs will be looking to explode onto site, find these picks, trade it out, and get map point.
Final 25 seconds in the round. Are the Chiefs going to find match point, or the Direwolves keep this one alive? It's Souffle with a kill onto Ethan. Boydie pushing out into the hallway. Tanks out the Banshee. Oh, he spots Harambe, but he was already looking at Boydie. And now the Direwolves find 2 quick kills to take the lead in this round. Digital and Worthy in red time. Digital has the diffuser, can stick it. Watching in towards T. It's Worthy. Nades go out. Needs to keep watching. Lands the headshot. Lands the second one. The Guardian for Digital does his job, but Edie pushes up close on the smoke with a shotgun to the head, to the face of Digital. Counter defuse. Round win for the Direwolves. It's 4-5.
A close one there for the Direwolves, but able to prevail. Good pressure and good denial for the most part of entry in towards the objective. Chiefs just finding it tough to get over that final and arguably most difficult hurdle. Tightens things up once more. We rotate over towards exhibition room office to stay on the 2nd floor. Last time the Chiefs able to quite comfortably deal with that utility from down below. Had quite a commanding presence. ED tried his best to roam in lobby. Good information saw him fall as well. So expect below the objective to play a big role who wins this one out.
You're bringing out the Mirror Souffle as well. Bringing out the Thunderbird. You got the Azami. Kind of lineup that we've really not really seen too often. And it feels like there hasn't been too many dominant rounds, regardless of attack defense. And admittedly, it hasn't been as defender-sided as we thought it would probably be. Maybe bans have sort of played a factor in that, but in all honesty, I think both teams have just sort of showed the ability to play both sides here. Obviously, Direwolves now just finding their first defensive round win. Hence, so far now, 4 rounds of the 9, attack 5. So rather 50-50. And what that means for the rest of this game is it's anyone's round.
Anyone's round, anyone's game, anyone's shot at the top 2 for the major, really. Both these teams could meet a bitter end at the end of this second stage after such a strong stage number 1. But that will be far from the forefront of their minds at the moment. As the Direwolves aggressively extend over towards the west, Bouncer being live droned up the back stairs. Maybe seeing if he can get an entry, get some air jabs down, establish some map control for the Chiefs.
Oh, great drone there for Bouncing before pushing up top of back stairs and moves away from that. And it's Jackie Wu who finds the opening kill onto Worthy. Takes out the Yana, and it gives hope here for the Direwolves. Bouncing the trade, it's there again. And that's one thing that the Chiefs have been able to do a couple of times in this game. Even if it's not instantaneous, they're always able to sort of bring it back to that 4 versus 4 nature after losing a player early. Minute 15 remaining in the 10th round. Chiefs still looking for that match point. Bouncing looking for the kill through the hallway.
Oh, a grenade from down below. Ethan able to get the down. That's big. Now, they won't have information on that. No points, of course, onto the injure. But I think the Chiefs will have a very good inkling very soon that there's a player down. And they'll be able to get the man advantage well and truly in this one. But no, it is 3-on-3 now. Souffle elsewhere, able to find Digital. Diffuser, cold on the ground. 45 seconds left for the Chiefs to recover it, try and get in towards the objective. The Direwolves have wasted a lot of time and they're avoiding more and more utility. This is going to come down to a frag fest with 30 seconds to go. Who can trade out these picks better?
2 Adrenal Surges available for Ethan to aid the Chiefs in pushing onto site now. Getting that little bit of extra health. They lose Bouncer though, and they needed everything that they could have to go their way. Suddenly, the defense is looking short here for the Direwolves. Ethan just has to push up. Outstairs, he can't find success. Gets to the top and meets his maker. Direwolves have well and truly responded here. Into the 11th round we go, and it is difficult to split these two teams now. Both of them responding off the back of tactical timeouts, leading to defensive round wins. It is as even as you could ask. 5 defensive round wins, 5 attacking round wins, 5-5 on the scoreboard. Both have taken their tactical timeouts. From here on out, it's impossible to split these two teams.
Well, unfortunately for them, or I guess unfortunately for the loser, fortunately for the winner, we will have to eventually. And the question remains, will that be in regulation or will it be in overtime? And both of these teams want to be as proactive as possible, get on the front foot, secure that point in the bag, and hopefully continue that momentum into a regulation win. Now, the Chiefs, probably a little bit disappointed with how they traded out that last round, but they might find some renewed confidence heading on to this tertiary objective. Now, tertiary objectives can go both ways. Maybe the defense isn't quite acclimatized to defending it, but at the same time, the attack might not be as well drilled in approaching it. So we'll have to see who can prevail in such an important round. And it's not just down to fundamentals and to individual gameplay or team play for this round. There's that huge pressure factor, right? This is a big game. These teams know the stakes. In a 7 Playday format, top 2 make it through to the major. Every round, every single round matters. So yeah, this is big.
And the other thing as well is, at the conclusion of this round, one of these teams will be able to get 3 points. The other team will not. If you lose this round, you cannot get 3 points from this match. Simple as that. 2 points is the maximum you will be able to achieve. Should add that if this does go to overtime, I don't believe the Chiefs can actually get off the bottom of the standings. So take that as you will. I mean, it doesn't mean a whole lot for the long term of the league, but they really need all of the points that they can get, being down the bottom at the moment.
Well, I mean, it kind of does in the sense though, right? If this goes to overtime, it diminishes the maximum points both teams can get. both of them at the moment towards the bottom of the standings, and both teams went to the last major, and that's the doomsday scenario we envisioned earlier, where these two teams going head-to-head at this point of the season could have far-reaching implications, and ultimately neither of them might make the next major, which has a flow-on effect of SI, etc. So, yeah, every round really does matter, and neither team wants to give up this round at all. This is a win-at-all-costs round. And Worthy doing a good job at the moment, gets control over towards the east quite early, sends a nade through T room, bit of damage onto Soufflé as he tries to disrupt the position of the mirror, who in fact has a mirror staring down those main stairs, but Soufflé doesn't budge, and this is the roadblock that the Chiefs need to contend with.
Minute 20, still no engagement. Only Soufflé is taking a little bit of damage. Worthy holding on to this mezzanine position, but he's obviously fearful. It's a risky spot to be standing when someone could just flank from behind. All about timing. You're holding that mezzanine position, and now pushes forward. Pointing over towards Terrace. Just under a minute left. 5 versus 5. Still no real hard engagement, but it's brewing. It's close. Ethan, oh, that was so unfortunate. We saw Jackie Wu make the peak. Ethan did not, and Ethan falls.
Now the Chiefs on the back foot, 40 seconds remain, and they're struggling to get a foothold up above. A lot of verts still established for the defense. Jackie Wu holding down the line over towards the livery as well. And it seems like the Chiefs just don't have the answers to these questions that the Direwolves are posing on this round, but a response from Worthy. Now a 4-on-4.
Oh, he saw the barrel though. Jackie Wu's going to get more than just the barrel. He gets the diffuser through the wall as well. Jackie Wu! But it's Worthy elsewhere, who finds a quick double onto Pika and Soufflé, brings it to a 2 versus 2. Bounces and drops down into Kitchen. It's red time. Where's the diffuser? You're going to pick it up and you're going to get that one down. Worthy finds it, but he meets his maker by Harambe. Bouncing, swings, got to grab the diffuser. No time, no chance. Direwolves, courtesy of Jackie Wu, with a massive round win. The ramifications for their season, it's so defining. Match point. Direwolves.
What a way to hold out. I thought this was the point where the Chiefs can explode, but Jackie Wu gets both of those players crossing his line of sight. If he only gets one, then the Chiefs probably can get that diffuser down, but that was huge. And now with match point, now with fate in their hands, the Direwolves rotate over towards one of the favored sites, Karaoke and Tea Room. So close to a maximum of 3 points in this game, and the Chiefs now, just like that, on the precipice of continuing their run as the bottom placed team in the league.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
As it stands, if the Direwolves can convert in this round, and only in this round, they can get to a tied second position with the Knights. Of course, still, disclaimer, 2 more matches to be played this evening. We've still got Gaming Gladiators versus Fury, and then IG versus Elevate. A fantastic game, a fantastic round of Siege that we've got this week for APAC South. Yes, Knights, wildcard, a little bit of a letdown, but there's been no letdown in this match.
10 seconds left.
Certainly not. I think I probably, in hindsight, set my expectations way too low for this game. It certainly got the heart rate up for us, and I can only anticipate it's even higher for those inside the server itself. Huge ripple effect on this next round. Could really be the difference maker between, obviously, the Chiefs making a major, but Direwolves as well. Every single point critical.
Well, I still stand. I'm happy to, have egg on my face if the Chiefs win the final 4 rounds of the stage and make top 2. But
well, they won 4 games last stage, still didn't make top 2. So it comes down to these head-to-head results. And honestly, with these two so close, imagine it comes down Direwolves, Chiefs, second, third. Again, quite unlikely, but it's those head-to-heads that are going to prove costly. So who knows? That's another scenario for a couple of weeks' time.
yep. So much on the line, though, in this particular round. Of course, this is where the Chiefs need all of their focus. They need to send this one to overtime. Every point will help. If they can get 2 points from this match, they'll still be feeling confident that they can turn their stage around. Even if it's, just 1 point, even just getting it to OT, that could be a difference maker for either team. For Direwolves, if they don't convert this round, what if they miss out on top 2 by 1 point? What if this was the defining moment. Hard to say. Hindsight's a wonderful thing that we will have in a month's time, but we're not there yet. Minute 35 left, and still neither team engaging until Bouncing gets the opening pick onto Jackie Wu, the hero from the last game. Now out for the count. Bouncing as well.
Hello?
Gets the second freebie. He'll make it 3, surely.
Oh
You're
my
just
God.
walking into
Oh
the net.
my God.
It's a quad for Bouncing. And Bouncers back for the Chiefs, who will send this to overtime. Make it the ace. Make it flawless.
I cannot believe what we have just seen. Bouncing making the play of the day, just sneaking his way through. The first two were very clean, the third unexpected, the fourth even more so. And then just for the star points, rounds it out onto ED for the ace, for the flawless round, and to keep the Chiefs alive.
Heroics from Jackie Wu, and then heroics from Bouncing. Clutch plays. Back-to-back rounds. Now to overtime we go. Karaoke Tea Room. Direwolves on the defense. Chiefs will be on the attack to start this overtime. Neither team able to get the 3 points from this game. Direwolves cannot get to tied second at the conclusion of Playday 3. What this does do as well is the Chiefs get their first point of the stage. They're no longer sitting on a donut. And the Direwolves go to 3 points. As it stands, that is tied with Fury and IG, both of which still play tonight. Both teams desperate for all 2 points, though.
And Mr. James Devmarter Stewart in the background is giving us confirmation that ace in the last round, 18 seconds from point to point. Now, surely there's some stat genius out there that knows the fastest ace in Tier 1 history, because I certainly have no idea what it is. But I have got to anticipate it's very close to being one of the quickest. So, look, absolutely incredible play there in that last round, but just as we're probably getting a little bit excited, they need to almost be mindful that they don't get too excited, right? You need to be able to calm yourself back down now for overtime, because every single round continues to matter. The job far from over, and the Chiefs, if they flip it on its head, get 2 points here, it's just enough to keep their head above water.
And this is a particular match that has not gone back and forth. We're talking about mini periods of dominance. The first 4 rounds, it was 3-1 Direwolves, then 4 in a row to the Chiefs, then 3 in a row to the Direwolves. Going into overtime, are we expecting dominance from the Chiefs now in return to keep this going? Or for the first time, do we go back and forth 1 round for 1 round until the 15th? Hard to say. We'll find out. And right now, we're just sitting along and watching a fantastic game of Siege from 2 giants of the APAC South competition that have seen success at the top end. But as it stands, are both on the bottom, looking to find their way back to where they feel they rightfully belong. A minute 40 left to kickstart overtime. Let's see who can get overtime match point first.
Ethan down below, both grenades expended. Worthy still has 2 available though, and they'll want to try and clear the way for this push through Geisha. Good information in Karaoke as well. That's something we've seen a lot from the Chiefs, is good information. And generally speaking, good gun skill as well. ED off the board, that's the Warden taken care of. That would enable now more flash play. Bouncing and Digital have flashbangs available. No smokes, of course, though, for the team. Nonetheless, though, still a good find.
Yeah, and it's a find that's been rare for the Chiefs in this match. Opening kills has not been their forte. It's been all of the Direwolves. Drop down, easy one for Worthy. No, he makes a meal of it. Gets punished by Jackie Wu, who does get knocked down as well by Bouncing, I believe. Ping. Bouncing should be able to get that conversion. Souffle falls to Ethan. There's the Adrenal Surge as well to get back some health. Jackie Wu, of course, still on the ground. Should be able to get finished off. And the Chiefs, technically, 4-2 up in this overtime round on the offense. They need something special. Harambe's been very quiet, and he will stay dead quiet. Big headshot from Boydie. And now surely the Chiefs win it out. 4-1 is essentially because Jackie Wu's still on the ground. Pika so low on health. No chance he'll win this from the mezzanine. It's the Chiefs that are going to have overtime match point. What a comeback. What a turnaround.
The last 2 rounds from the Chiefs have been incredibly explosive, and the Dire Wolves cannot mount a response. Now they'll jump over the defense. That's the Chiefs it is, and we'll have to see whether or not they continue to aggress. Karaoke T as expected. The snowballing of momentum in some of these attacking rounds from the Chiefs has been incredibly impressive, and I'm sure the Doves are keenly looking to do that themselves here. 15 rounds potentially looms in this one, but we brace for the 14th. In terms of the operator selections heading in, Azami being brought out by the Chiefs. They've been dabbling in it a little bit. Both teams have, in fact. And actually, either I misread the objective guide earlier on the screen, or it got changed last second. We are heading actually over towards barbecue and kitchen. So the Chiefs confident they can make this site work.
It worked out for them to close out the first half as well. If we remember back, guys, it was at that time that they were kind of in the midst of their comeback. They had just won Tea Room Karaoke on their attack, and then, of course, headed to Kitchen Barbecue, which they played entirely off-site. They brought out the roam game. But you look at the lineup they've kind of brought here, it doesn't really spell roam game. It really doesn't. There's Army, Smoke, the Wamai, the Mew. I mean, it will be intriguing to see sort of how they do play this. Obviously, it'll be off-site, but looks as if it's going to be more of a vert hold, potentially, in this overtime match point round. Chiefs looking for 2 points. If they find it, the Dire Wolves will be dead last after 3 play days.
Bouncing, probing, being spotted out though, and he loses the fight to ED. The high ground doesn't always work out, and that's a big scalp for the Dire Wolves, and ED wants more.
Oh, Bouncing will be ruining that missed opportunity, feeling as if he could have given the Chiefs a bit of breathing room. Now it's the other way. The Dire Wolves get a much-needed kill. Can breathe a little bit now. 5 versus 4 in the round. They'll start to make their way over and up Kitchen Barbecue. Although not so much, actually. More first floor offense, it seems as if it's a horizontal push, and less so looking for the vert play, not trying to play too much into the Chiefs' hold above. But now, though.
Minute 40.
A bomb has been located.
Silence across the map. Divers want to gain some positional advantage, and the Chiefs don't want to throw any picks away, already at a man disadvantage themselves. Backs quite literally against the wall for multiple players on the defense. Ethan, though, Geisha control. Boydie still has backstairs as well. Those are the 2 players we're looking at here to step up.
Boydie feeling the pressure, but does not move an ounce. 5 drones remaining. That was shot out there by Worthy. Bomb chassis of the A site here on Barbecue. Minute left, and he falls! Big nade, but a second elsewhere too. At the same time, 2 players of the Chiefs fall to the nades of the Dire Wolves. 5 versus 2, make it 1. Make it a 15th round, guys. It's fitting for what's been a bit of a classic match between 2 giants of APAC South. We go to 1 more round.
And it's another flawless round. We've had multiple of them in this match so far, which just makes it so difficult to get a read as to what we can expect heading in to the 15th round.
Wow. Someone's missing out at the conclusion of this round. Both teams have been deserving. Both teams will feel their season may be on track once again. This is the best that we've seen from the Chiefs so far this stage. The Dire Wolves, of course, they had that close win against Elevate back in Playday 1. They would have been disappointed with their result in Playday 2 against Wildcard, but really playing well here. Both teams. Dire Wolves play Fury next week, and Chiefs play the Knights next week. Neither of those will be easy games. It's a new look Fury as well. 7-7. Duflay 16-7. Jackie Wu 12-10, had that big clutch 3K. The Chiefs are way more even spread though, guys. 10-12, 10-12, Digital with 4, but of course a hard support on the roster.
I think everyone's probably had their moment in this game, whether it be in the kill feed or with plays elsewhere. It's been one of those matches,
5 seconds left before
so
insertion.
to and fro. Both teams,
Attackers
you remember
must
back
locate
using their tactical timeouts incredibly well to keep themselves with a chance. It was the first half of the Chiefs that they recovered, the Direwolves similarly in the second to just hold on for overtime. Now it goes right down to the wire. In the best of one format, it cannot get any closer. The 15th round, absolute maximum OT. The attack for the Chiefs, does that favor them? They've had some good rounds, but it's often been reliant on someone in particular stepping up and finding picks. I don't think Dials will allow that to happen once more. Quite a defensive setup on site. Mirror in play. Bandit as well. So the Chiefs, I'm assuming, will once more want to head down below, get those frag grenades to work in the hands of Ethan and in the hands of Boydie.
Attack has been the favored side, though, in this Skyscraper match. So Chiefs on the attack, 2 minutes. This final round, they should feel confident that they can get the job done. Boydie making his entrance in on the side entrance. ED just stays alive. He's going to get another Kiba barrier. He can throw those out and hide and hope that he doesn't get spotted out. Low on health now for the rest of this round, but did not fall and can now make use of those Kiba barriers.
Pressure now onto ED once more as the exterior breach on that single ball now opened up. Here's the grenade play from the Chiefs. We've seen it from both teams. Boydie will first and foremost want to make sure utility is cleared for the hard breaches, but secondly wants to try and find kills. Those defenders lurking up above. 70 seconds. The 15th round, it always feels like it's going in fast forward, and the Chiefs will be starting to feel that pressure. They haven't found a pick. The utility game has been, I think, a little bit slow, potentially maybe as well. It's hard to say. The exterior breach, though, opened up. The mirror behind the bar, though, still available to be played behind, and that's a tricky spot to nade. But bouncing once more on the lurk, just like that ace, to find the kill. With 40 seconds to go, ED's down as well. It's a 5v3 for the Chiefs.
Chiefs looking to bring home the win, to get the 2 points, to get their season back on track where they think it belongs. Speaking of back up, ED got brought back up. Worthy, though, shuts him down for good. Entirely now gone. Worthy can't win that one. Souffle with a quick double kill. Let's get his POV instead. Oh, it's just falling apart for the Chiefs. It's the Direwolves, baby. They're back in town with a big win. Against the Chiefs, they pull up a clutch round win in the 15th round to get the 2 points to get their season back on track.
I think the Divers are somehow more speechless than me at the moment. No Harambe dance, so clearly not very happy that they got pushed to their absolute